Well, this holiday season, millions of families are facing an uphill battle of sort due to the ongoing impacts of the pandemic, inflation, evictions, job loss, natural disasters, and more. Well, the Salvation Army is committed to providing service and love to those in need this Christmas and way beyond that. Today, we're joined by Commissioner Kenneth G. Hodder. He is the National Commander of the Salvation Army, as well as Ben and Aaron Napier, who are the hosts of HGTV's hit show Hometown. And they're going to give us some details so that we can learn how to give back so that every family may live without the fear of homelessness, food insecurity, or loss of hope. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks very much for being here.
Thank you.
An opportunity.
Well, first of all, Commander, can you tell us why it is important to keep giving throughout the new year?
Right now, almost 2/3 of all Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and we're seeing that evidenced at the Salvation Army through an increase in the applications for assistance of about 30 to 50%. In some locations, as much as 400%. People are having to make choices between putting food on the table or Christmas presents under the tree, between putting fuel in their cars or paying the heating bill. These are choices that people shouldn't have to make. And the Salvation Army is asking everyone to help their neighbors make sure that they don't have to make those choices by giving this Christmas season.
And Commissioner, no doubt it has been difficult on many families, but I think it's also been difficult on the Salvation Army as you've adapted to the needs of the community over the years, especially during this time of rising inflation and lingering effects of the pandemic. How has the Salvation Army indeed adapted?
Well, the Salvation Army is seeing increasing costs, just as everyone else is seeing increasing costs. Our only ability to respond to that sort of change is to ask people to give a little bit more, to go a little bit deeper in their giving. Because ultimately, it's people giving to their neighbors that's going to make the difference. And the Salvation Army in every local community is going to be looking to ask people, help us make sure that your neighbors are taken care of.
And two folks who know a lot about hometowns can tell us how they have seen the Salvation Army meet local needs. Folks, how has you seen that happen for us?
We've spent a lot of time with the Salvation Army this year on a couple of volunteer days and helping make a shelter that felt more like a home.
But the biggest thing for us is the way that we've been able to get our daughters involved in it.
Yeah.
And that's, as parents, that's the front of mind for you is how am I raising these kids that will one day be adults? And for us, charity is a big deal. It's important for us. And the Salvation Army was our first introduction to charity, but also it's now been our daughter's first introduction to charity.
It has been. And I don't think that I realized until the last couple of years that when you give to the Salvation Army, it goes directly to your local branch of the Salvation Army. So you're not giving to someone far away, a nameless, faceless person that you don't know. You're giving to someone you might actually know, someone who might be in your church, somebody you might work with, somebody you might know in your community. And that, to me, is why the Salvation Army is so special, is because it takes care of your local, hometown neighbors and community who's in need.
And certainly around this time of year, we're focused on, some of us on getting, but you're certainly focused on giving.
Exactly. That's the hardest phase of parenting that we're in right now, is teaching toddlers, young children. I know that you really want the dancing, singing Bluey for Christmas, but let's think about what we can give instead of what we can get at Christmas. And the Salvation Army has been our greatest teaching tool.
Yeah.
It really has, to help them understand when they hear the bell and they see the red kettle, this is your chance to give. And the angel tree, we shopped for 4 children last week, and it was the first time Helen went into a Walmart and didn't ask for anything for herself. And that is what I was happiest about, is that she's thinking about these children and what they would really love.
But I think that the giving aspect that is front of mind for Americans right now, because it's, this time of year, you hear the bells, you see the red kettles, it's what you're thinking about. But it's also, it's important to continue giving throughout the year, because
the need doesn't go away.
That's right. Yeah, need is always there. That's right.
And Commissioner, where can folks go to give to the Salvation Army?
The best source of information is at salvationarmyusa.org. All of the volunteering and giving opportunities in your community can be found there. If they find a Salvation Army kettle on their local street corner, they can also not only put a little money in the bucket, but they can use Google Pay, Apple Pay, Venmo, PayPal. And if you're at home, you can say to your Alexa device, Alexa, make a donation to the Salvation Army.
All great ways to give. Kenneth Hodder, Ben and Aaron Napier, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks
again,
Thank you.
and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.